What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here. So, season's over. We made the playoffs. Yeah, just barely. So, you remember that video I did a little while ago, just kind of catching up on all things Atlanta United, and I talked about, Pineda, and things are looking good, and if they just keep that momentum, we can end the season well and then build for next season. Yeah, things kind of went off the rails after that. Oh boy, let's talk about it. So, first of all, kind of go through a rundown. I went ahead and pulled up the schedule here just so I can sort of talk about each game. Not necessarily like dive into detail because I don't remember every single game. I do remember, however, the last few, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about those when I get there. But shortly after I made that video, we then go and lose at Philadelphia, which Philadelphia is a good team. It's away from home, but the performance wasn't great. Then we're at home, we beat Inter, Miami, had no real issues there, pretty much dominated, just not great with the finishing, only 1-0. Then we go and lose to Montreal, which I didn't get to see that game because couldn't find it anywhere. And overall, based on the stats, based on what I heard, because we were listening to it on the radio, it was kind of average, an average performance for us. 2-1's not a terrible result. Stats-wise, didn't look that bad. And then we go away to Toronto and win that game comfortably. It's like, okay, that's good. Toronto's not a good team, but winning away, still a good thing to do. Although the red card at the end for Joseph, not great. And then we come back home, New York City. Good game. We play well. Don't finish our chances, though, and then we give up a late equalizer. A little disappointing. It wasn't a bad result. New York City's a good team. However, we were in charge, we were in the lead, and we let them back in. So a little disappointing there. Then the next game is against Inter Miami at home. And that one is just, it starts off frustrating, but by the end of the game we've turned it around, won the game. But it was a little disappointing to watch. Not the best performance. We're at home. It's Inter Miami. They're not that great of a team. And we let them have a little too much joy going forward. We even let them score off of a stupid foul, which, if I remember right, that's the VAR check on Guzan, which wasn't really a foul, but overall, it just not a great performance. Expected a little bit more, and then that compounds whenever we're at home against Toronto. We go up 1-0, and Toronto's not a good team. We handled them easily at their place, and then we let them back in at the end, and then they tie us 1-1 at home, and it was a terrible performance, and I was pissed after watching that game. So then you go to New York, and they're a team that's kind of in the running with you. Good chance to turn it around, put in a good performance. I didn't get to see it, but based on the stats, I looked at about the 70th minute. We hadn't registered a shot. And that's an issue. Especially, Martinez didn't start, but still, that's an issue. When you don't register a shot against a team that you're kind of battling with for a playoff position, that's not good enough. It doesn't matter that you're away from home. We're a team that should be good enough up top that we can create chances. We can take shots. So to not register a shot for 70-something minutes, I don't know, we only ended up with 2. I don't know when we got those. But, that's embarrassing. That means we were shut out. And with all the attacking talent we have, that should not be happening. And then Cincinnati game today did manage to find that one, and what an embarrassing show. My God, Cincinnati's the worst team in the league. And yet, we let them score on us. We let them dominate us for most of the first half. The goal was just easy as you like. One little 1-2 pass, and the guy dribbles across the top of the box at about 2 miles an hour, maybe. Not even going that fast. And everybody's just standing and watching as he dribbles across, and then he has the shot with nobody in the way. And Guzan's just like, thanks, guys. Thanks for doing nothing. It was embarrassing. In the second half, we turned it up a little bit, managed to get the goal, but still not enough. Still not enough to where Cincinnati didn't create some chances. Still not enough to where we created a ton of chances. We barely created a few. So it really hasn't been that good going into the end of the season, and that's a problem. Because you want us to end the season on a high note. You want to end the season feeling like, yes, like we're playing well, we're dominating, we're going to be fine in the playoffs. We're going to do fine when we get in there. I don't feel that way. I'm going into the playoffs with the feeling of, God, I have to watch more of this? I have to see more of this terrible play, this boring, dull style that makes me think back to DeBoer? This lack of energy, the lack of desire to chase down a ball, the lack of desire when somebody on our team is on the ball to make a run for him, to do anything aside from just stand there and watch him do moves and hopefully he can keep the ball, guys. It's so dull to watch. And we're not a club that should be feeling like that. We have so much attacking talent. And yet some of these players, their energy levels, their desire, their work rate is just as the season's gone on. We had that initial bump when Pineda came in, when Valentino took over, and I think that was just joy from Heinz's gone. We don't have to deal with a coach that's not going to let us drink water at practice anymore. We don't have to deal with a coach that's going to torture us, that's going to try to freeze out some of us if we disagree with him. That initial joy, I think, bumped up our performances and got us through some good results, some good play, and made us look like a better team. And then slowly but surely, it just kind of faded into, okay, guys, now we're just cruising on to the end. And unfortunately, we don't have as great of a talent as we did under Tata, where we can just sort of cruise. And even under Tata, I don't even really think we ever cruised under him. We were always looking to play. We were always playing with energy and with desire and just this, yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to work for the team. We're not like that anymore. We're not a team that works for each other. We're a team that one guy's on the ball, he's doing all these moves, he's trying to do all this stuff, and then if he gets out of the pressure, then he'll pass it to somebody who's standing and waiting for it. We're not a team that I'm going to make this run and I'm going to make a run off of you and I'm going to make a run off at you and it's going to be quick little interplay. That's not us anymore. And it's very apparent when you watch. Honestly, several moments throughout today where against a bad team in Cincinnati, you can obviously tell what our issues are. Because Cincinnati should have no business being in the same game as us. I mean, we showed it a few months ago when we beat them 4-0 at our place. They have no reason to be anywhere near. So was it 3-0 or 4-0? I just had the schedule up. Should have looked at it. Yeah, 4-0. They have no business being in the same game with us. They're not a team that's good. Maybe they'll get better, but no business being in the same game. No business scoring on us. So to watch as our defenders, you've got the one guy that's defending the guy on the ball, and he's sort of running around with the ball. Everybody else is standing and watching. There was a moment late on where ball comes across and the header's won. One player goes to pressure the loose ball that's being picked up by a Cincinnati player. Everybody else is kind of walking. And then we win the ball back. Everybody's still walking up the field now. And all I can think is, if he gets that ball poked off of him, we're not ready to defend. We're not ready to do anything about it. So this is where I get to the point of, is Pineda good enough? Is he good enough as a coach to take us to the top again? I don't think he is. I think, again, we started well under him because we were on a high from getting rid of Heinze. We were on a high of good momentum, of good play, good results. And then it just sort of started fading into, all right, yeah, we got this, guys. We're good. And then it kind of went into cruise control. And now here we're stuck in cruise control. And it's becoming very easy to play against us. And to, even if we go up a goal, very easy for other teams to come back into games. Very easy for teams that we should be beating comfortably to play against us and create chances and score goals. And that's not how it should be. So, yeah, a lot of issues going into the playoffs. Issues that I don't think are going to be fixed within a couple weeks. We're gonna struggle. I don't see us. It's going to take a big change of mindset. We're going to have to go in and play with everything we've got. And I just don't see us doing that right now. I don't see players that want to put their bodies on the line to get a result. And unfortunately, we don't have the players that can just put in cruise control and just play and not have any issues. We don't have players like that. Joseph, he's not that type of player. He's a player that he needs to work hard to get to where he is. The reason he's scored over 100 goals for us in 5 short years is because he's normally a player that busts it. This new Joseph Martinez that I've seen over the past few games that sort of stands around and waits for the play to come to him and waits for somebody to send him the perfect ball instead of making the runs and trying to make stuff happen, this new Joseph's not going to score 100 goals within 100 years. I'm over exaggerating. But he's not playing the same level. He's not playing with the same intensity and energy that brought him to where he is, that brought him to be the amazing striker that we know. So yeah, can still turn up with a great goal, still an amazing finisher, but his work rate has dropped severely, and so our play and our finishing and our goal scoring has dropped severely. That's just how it is. Araujo, when I talked about him in the last video, he was flying high. Since then, I don't know what's happened. I don't know if players figured out how to play against him, but my God, what has he done? I mean, he was assisting, he was creating chances, he was dangerous, he was putting players on their butts with his moves. And now it's just like he's getting beaten so easily on the ball. He's not doing anything special with it. He can pull off a decent move every now and then, but overall he's not doing anything productive with it. And that's becoming an issue. It's been an issue for the past few games, and now we're going into playoffs, and we need somebody like Araujo when he first came in, that high energy, very creative, willing to take on players and beat players, and he has the ability to do it. And now he's just another player that can dribble and then lose the ball. And that's it. Barco, probably the only player I don't have an issue with right now, and it's just because he works so hard. The only big problem he has is just his finishing. You know, that final decision on the ball, whether it's a shot, whether it's a pass, he normally makes the wrong decision. And it's something he's got to improve on because his work rate is perfectly fine. You know, he's busting it constantly. He's working hard to win the ball back. He's working hard to keep the ball. He has so much pace and just the ability to keep hold of the ball that it's dangerous for defenders whenever he's on it. Now, granted, again, he doesn't do anything when we get into the final third. You know, all this good work and then he passes it to a defender or his shot is way over the bar. So he's got to improve on that. But I like his work rate because it's something that not anybody else on the field, aside from maybe Moreno, has given us. So it's frustrating that one of our hardest working players is also a player that's not producing in the final third. Because I'm looking and saying if Barco's energy and Martinez's finishing capability combined into one player, we'd have our own, Cristiano Ronaldo in the MLS. But unfortunately, we don't have that. We have one or the other, and it's not good enough. On Moreno, though, I mean, he's been solid. We've missed him over the couple games that he's not played or that he hasn't started. I mean, he is a game changer. Now, granted, he's not absolutely the best player in the MLS. He's not Almiron that's going to beat everybody, but he's good enough and he works hard enough that he can make stuff happen. You know, he's got a little bit of both, but just not quite the same level as somebody like Almiron. So that's why we haven't really been dominating. You know, and on top of that, the players around him are not really giving him many options either. So it's kind of hard for somebody to play that well, but then after all this good play, there's nobody there for you to help you out. So it's been frustrating, I think, for him. I've been frustrated for him, at least, watching him do all this great stuff and watching him try to make things happen for us and then not being helped out because Martinez didn't want to make a run, or Araujo, didn't do anything with it, or Barco had a bad touch. It is frustrating that he's setting us up well, but we're not finishing it off. Then everything behind it it's been very average. The midfield, it's been average. Rossetto's been average. Ibarra's actually been awful. Go ahead and say that. He's looked a shadow of what we saw earlier on in the season. Hardworking midfielder that's all over the place, trying to make things happen. He looks terrible. I mean, I don't remember him being a fantastic finisher, but his shooting is awful. His passing has been very, very poor. Giveaways all over the place. His tackling has been stupid, like causing some easy free kicks for the other team because he's just lunging into challenges. He's been awful. Sosa's obviously been out of the team. And that's pretty much it for, Sejdic, but I don't even rate him, honestly. I don't know why we picked him up. To be perfectly honest, I don't know why we went and got Sejdic. We did not need him. I know we were looking for another midfielder, but my God, I think I'd rather... No, I wouldn't rather see Ambrose in there. That's too far. That's too much. But, really, there are several players I think we could play in there aside from him. I think we could move Campbell up and play him there. I think we can move Lennon in and play him there. Honestly, he plays inside more often than not because he doesn't stay outside because he's an idiot. But, I mean, it's just, why did we go get Sadich? It's so dumb. But as far as Lennon and Bello are concerned, I mean, neither of them are really setting the world alight. Lennon has been doing, he's been working hard, but he's not a player. So he's a body out there that can run up and down the line and, be a good defensive player, but then on the attack, he thinks he's like Hazard and he thinks he can take on players and stop it and go. And then players are just like, well, thanks. I know you can't dribble, so as soon as you take your first touch, I'm stealing it from you. Bello, I mean, he had so much promise, but I feel like he's just sort of dropped off as the season's gone on. And honestly, today against Cincinnati was probably his worst performance I've seen. He just got absolutely eaten alive on that left side. Like, everything he tried to do didn't come off because he thought he could do it all by himself, and he cannot. So, yeah, he's just... I know he's still young, and he's still got room to grow, but I feel like he's being very naive right now, and I feel like he needs to learn from his mistakes and realize, okay, so taking this guy on, like, one-on-one isn't really working for me. Let me change it up a little bit. Let me try to, play some 1-2s. Let me try to see if there's another option. Let me see if we can hit an early cross. But instead, he just keeps trying the one-on-ones and keeps getting the ball taken off of him, and it's just building up the energy of the crowd because every single time he gets beat, they're just like, yeah, this guy's amazing. And I'm like, no, it's just Bello's really dumb. And then in the back three, Franco's still not good enough. I've talked about him before. Still not good enough to be a DP, and he's just not good enough overall. Like, it's really shown over the past several games that he is not a good defender. Today, so many moments, he steps into the midfield and doesn't win the ball. And now all of a sudden, pass, they're in behind our middle defender, our center defender. The guy that's supposed to be back there and cleaning everything up is now beaten. So, we're in trouble. So I don't want to see more of Franco. LGP, he could have his moments. He could have his moments where he would do something great. And I'm just like, okay, good on you, LGP. So it made me not want to be like, all right, get him out of here, because he did have his stupid moments as well. But he had enough good moments to make me feel like, okay, I want to see him stick around. Franco, I've not seen that. His bad moments far outweigh his good moments to the point where I'm just like, let him go. I'm sick of him. I'm done. I want to see Walks, Robinson, Campbell. That's my back three. I don't understand how Franco continues to get picked because he's not good. He's a terrible defender. He doesn't read the game well. Defensively, he's not good on challenges. He's decent in the air. That's pretty much the only thing he's got going for him. But everything else about his game as a defender, I was a defender. So I understand what a defender needs to be a good defender, and he doesn't have any of it. So I don't get it. I don't understand why he continues to play. I don't understand why we're paying DP money for him. He's been awful. He's been absolutely terrible. So I hope he's gone next year. I hope whoever made the decision, whether, I don't know if it's Bocanegra or Eels or whoever's in charge of transfers, whoever is in charge of that, honestly, I want them out of the club. And then whoever steps in, I want them to fix that mistake and get somebody else in. I'm not saying go get another DP level defender because, I mean, I'd rather use that DP money to bring in something better up top. But yeah, I mean, we need another defender in there soon because he's not getting the job done. Walks and Robinson, it's been so up and down. Robinson, ever since he had that great run for the U.S. at the Gold Cup, pretty sure it was the Gold Cup, ever since then, he's just kind of faded. He was fantastic there. He was fantastic for us throughout most of the season. And then it's just like, I don't know if maybe all the spotlight on him maybe brought some pressure, but he's really started to make some dumb decisions in the back over the past run of games. And it's been more and more frustrating to watch. It's been more and more like, what are you doing? How can you you weren't making these mistakes before. Why are you making them now type of thing? So I don't know. I don't know what's happened with him, but he's not really the same player that he was, several months ago in the summer when he was on fire for the U.S. And then Walks is just, he's an average defender. He can put in a solid shift, but then also there are times whenever he makes some dumb mistakes. So he always rides the line between being a solid defender and being a poor defender. So it's really hard to rate him most of the time. But and then Campbell, I mean, Campbell, there were a few games there he was playing, and I thought he was going to step in and be one of our defenders, but he's not really played since I made that last video. You know, he was involved. He was playing a few games there because I think Robinson was hurt and I think Franco was out for one game. So I thought he was going to be more involved, but since then it's been the same back three, I'm pretty sure, every single game, and he'll make an appearance every now and then as a sub off the bench. But honestly, I'm watching him and I'm thinking he's a better defender than Franco. So why doesn't he play more? So that's something else that Pineda really needs to look at if he wants to keep his job, because that's something we're going to have to do if we really want to be have a chance in the playoffs, because we're not creating many chances. We're not scoring many chances right now. So if we want to win in the playoffs, what we're going to have to do is shore up our defense to make sure we don't let any goals in. And maybe we'll pick that one goal. Maybe Joseph will turn it on for that 5 minutes that he's been doing in the past few games. He'll be great for 5 minutes and score a goal. And then we just got to hold on. And with Franco back there, we're not holding on. You know, we're giving up goals. And it's been way too easy for teams. So, yeah, again, I want to see Campbell out there. I'd rather see him than Franco. I know Pineda's probably not going to do that because for some reason he rates Franco highly. And it just makes no sense for me. But, yeah, Pineda, I mean, I don't see him lasting. Well, I say that. De Boer, I didn't think he was going to last long because of how poor we were under him. And yet he stayed for a while. But, in my opinion, you know, we should be wanting to be the best of the best. We should be wanting to be better than all the other teams in the league. With Pineda, I don't see that happening. With players like Franco, with players like Ibarra, you know, I don't see that happening. With performances like what Joseph and what Araujo and what Rossetto and what Bello and Lennon and Robinson, the performances they're turning in right now, we're not going to be the best of the best. We have to be consistently at the top of our game every single game. And we're not going to do that. Especially, you know, Pineda has shown he doesn't have the answer to figure out how to get the best out of these players consistently. So it's been very frustrating to watch. And I know I didn't talk about Guzan, but I mean, it's Guzan. He's going to turn in 100% every single game. I've never had an issue with him. Like, he's always just been such a good player to have, the experienced player that just understands the game, knows how to lead the back line. The day we lose him is the day that I feel like we're going to fade into obscurity, but I know not everybody shares that opinion. That's what I worry about. I mean, I don't know how Khan's going to be, if he's even going to be our star. I don't know what we're going to do when Guzan leaves, but anyways. But yeah, so all in all, I mean, this is kind of my pre-playoffs video. I don't know what we can do in such a short amount of time to get us playoff ready. I don't see any answers that are readily at our doorstep, like, here's what you need to do, and this is how you'll win, and this is how you'll get all the way to the playoffs, or to the end of playoffs and win the. I don't see that happening without some luck and a couple players turning it on, and finally saying, hey, I'm ready to play at 100%. Because right now we've got most of our players cruising along at 50, 60%. And it's just, as long as they're playing like that, we're not going to do well. So maybe they'll decide they want to turn it on because it's playoffs and it's just that you got to win that one game. It's not a situation where, you got to win all of these games back to back to back. Maybe with that in mind, they will turn it up and they will step up and say, all right, we'll do this. But I don't know. I mean, the way they've been playing right now, it's not looking good. And Pineda's not done anything to turn it around. It's just been the same lineup. You've got the occasional switch around. You'll sometimes see Martinez starting on the bench, and you've got Araujo and Barco up top with Moreno behind. Sometimes Martinez will start. You've got Barco and Araujo, and then Moreno's on the bench. It's just, I don't know if there's anything you can do as far as the personnel is concerned. It's got to be a mentality thing, and so far I've not seen him bring that mentality out in the players. So until we get a coach that can do that and can get them firing, I feel like we're just going to be a very average MLS side, and that's not what I want for us. So that's where I am right now. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you share my opinion? Are you more hopeful? Are you more negative? Or less? Not many people are more negative than me. I tend to see like the very bottom of the barrel possibilities. That being said, there are worse fates. I could see like, well, we're just gonna sell off everybody, and then we'll be like the Braves for the last few years until this year. Anyways, but yeah, so let me know what you guys think though down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on today's game against Cincinnati, and what are your thoughts on the team right now overall? Do you see us with a chance in playoffs? Let me know. We could talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Atlanta United reviews, and I hope I'll see you guys at the playoff videos. I'll try to watch them if I can. We'll see, because Bally Sports is still evil. So, but anyways, see you guys next time. Peace out.